All right. Welcome to Sculldog Radio, where I'm your host. I'll just say Sculldog. Sounds good for now. Um, Starting a show called Sculldog Radio, and just wanted to do the first show as like an introduction to who I am and why I'm starting this show. I'm new to this whole thing, so you got to kind of bear with me. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm kind of old school in that regard. So just a quick introduction of myself. I am 38 years old. I'm a father of two. Um, I am divorced. I have a regular job, which I'll get to later. And I guess always wanted to be in radio. Right after high school, I went into radio. Went to a school called Illinois Center for Broadcasting, which is like a trade school for radio. Didn't quite work out how I planned it. Um, Obviously, that's why you don't see me on any big radio station, which maybe is a good thing. Everything happens for a reason, as they say. So anyway, so here I am. Now, I don't really know how I'm going to have as far as format and all that other good stuff. I just thought I'd get my first recording done and kind of figure out the details later. But more about me. I'm an avid sports fan, particularly Chicago, because that's where I live. Um, Cubs are my favorite sports team, period, as baseball is my first love. Um, and then what's kind of funny is it used to be, the Bears, and then the Bulls, and then the Blackhawks. But obviously that order changed as I got older and Michael Jordan retired and so on. And now the Blackhawks are sort of the team. Everybody's kind of jumped on their boat because they pretty much are awesome and refuse to lose. So yeah, they're my second favorite team as hockey has now catapulted ahead of both football and basketball. So I'm just your ordinary guy who always had a dream of being on the radio. So here I am in my own home doing a radio station. Ha! Who would have thought that? Anyway, getting back more on me, I live in a suburb outside of Chicago, about 40 miles away, called Yorkville. Um, I guess the big perk of that is it has the biggest water park in Illinois, and I have two kids, so that's always good. Um, that's pretty much about it. I don't want to get too much into my job, as I don't really know how that works. If I can get in trouble or whatever. But yeah, I'm a materials manager for an aerospace company. Um, that's probably all I'll get into from that front. But the job itself doesn't completely satisfy me, and I thought I'd try this. Maybe it'll be therapeutic, if anything else. um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much is like the Cliff Notes version of me and why I'm starting this radio little project, if you will. Uh, Hopefully, I can be entertaining enough where people will actually listen to me. And I would like to get to a point where I do it kind of like once a week, maybe a half hour, then kind of see, just go from there. Some of my favorite radio icons, if you will, are Howard Stern. I listen to him every morning. I have quite a commute, about 3 hours, hour and a half each way average. So I'm able to listen to quite a bit of him, and he's very entertaining for those of you that only view him as a shock jock. He's actually way, way more than that. You should definitely give him a chance if you haven't listened to him in quite some time, which I hadn't until I got satellite radio. And then big sports guy, so I was always into Dan Overman and Keith Patrick, or Dan Patrick, sorry, Dan Patrick, And I remember just sitting in my car on lunch break at one of my jobs and just listening to him when he was on ESPN radio, and just really, really enjoyed it. Kind of took me away from my job and all the stresses and so on, and I could, for a 1 hour period, just sit back, relax, and listen to him. So that's what kind of inspired me. Now, as far as content and formats, don't know what I'm going to do with that. Kind of, there'll definitely be sports, and then I was hoping to have sort of everyday life things with that. So kind of a cross between a Howard Stern or a Dan Patrick of old days. I know he's got his own show now, which was on DirecTV for a while, and I'm not even sure what channel it's on now. So I'm not really sure what format he follows now, but it'll be probably more on the lines of his old stuff, where it's like sports and then throw in real world things going on, and just kind of just have fun with it. Try to figure out a way to entertain people. So, like I said, today is just introduction. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess since this is went by so fast, I was figuring my introduction would be more on the lines of 20 or 30 minutes, and it's not even 7 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw in a content and go from there. I think I'll start with the Cubs, since they're my sort of love for a team and gets me away from everyday life, and I can just get in the mind of Theo, as Theo Epstein, and what he's doing with the Cubs. And I know everyone's got on their minds what's going on. They're just terrible, and they've never lost so many games, and that's something to be said because they've been so bad. And all I would say as a Cubs fan is just be patient. And I know it's been preached over and over, and it seems a little ridiculous, but I have faith. I really do feel like Theo does know what he's doing. I mean, if you look at his track record, he took the Red Sox, whom nobody thought they would win a World Series, including me, and look what they've done over the course of the past 10 years. Now, they are a big market team, as the Cubs are. However, they spent a lot more money than the Cubs probably ever will, but it doesn't matter. If you look at the foundation, it all starts with prospects and young players. As Theo's famous line has always been, you don't pay for past performance, you pay for now performance. So you got to keep that in mind when you're looking to sign guys like Albert Pujols, and all these huge free agent names. You're paying for past performance. You're going to shell out $240 million for potentially a season or two, and then they're going to start their downfall. So what Theo is doing is absolutely on target. He's saying, okay, we may not have the money of the New York Yankees or Boston Red Sox. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the system, and we're going to take guys, like Alfonso Soriano and whatever player that they have value, and they're going to trade them and try to get as many prospects as possible and develop them. And if you look at what he's done, you now have top 5 farm system in baseball, and that's not just as a Cub fan saying that. That's all baseball analysts. I mean, they're all predicting the Cubs have a top 5 farm system. So that is amazing to me that he's been able to do that in such a short period of time. Because let's keep in mind, he's only been the GM of the Cubs. This will be his 3rd season. So it is easy to lose patience and lose big picture perspective when you're losing 90 to 100 games a season. But you have to look at the big picture and say, okay, well, what are the farm systems doing? How is Javier Baez doing? How is Chris Bryant doing? Which I follow them every morning. I go on their websites and I look to see what they did the day before. And, I'm not necessarily concerned with the Cubs team itself now, because I realize it doesn't matter. The team right now does not matter. They're not looking to win anything right now. They're looking to build the foundation of a team. So I guess what I'm saying is you can't put a time frame on the success of Theo and the Cubs. Everybody wants to say how many seasons, 1, 2, 3. I don't think you can necessarily say in 2 years they're going to be here, and then in 3 years they're going to be here, and so on and so on. You just have to continue to build and continue to see results in the prospects and see the foundation. And I think they are doing that. And they have made some brilliant moves. They were able to make trades such as Matt Garza and pick up a guy like Mike Olt, who the Rangers had pretty much left for dead. I mean, he isn't necessarily tearing the cover off the ball at the moment, but he does have 7 home runs, and you can see the talent in him. And the way that they got him through the trade with Garza was, awesome. Because you have a guy like Garza who's not going to really do anything for your team because he's going to win you 10 to 15 games. His ERA is going to be mid-threes, high-threes. But in the end, it's not going to matter right now. You're looking at when is Baez going to be up? When is Chris Bryant going to be up? When are those guys going to not only be up in the majors, but when are they going to be seasoned? So you could say, okay, Javier Baez will be up in the majors in September. Well, you're not going to see him, hit 20 home runs or 30 home runs. It's going to take time. They're going to have to develop in the majors. So realistically, you may not see a playoff Cub team for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. However, once they do get in the playoffs, I believe they're going to be there the next 10 years. Because like the Blackhawks, and I'm sure avid Blackhawks fans realize this and remember, they were awful for 10 years. And to say they would ever win a Stanley Cup was a complete joke. And look at them now. They've won 2 in 4 seasons, potentially 3 and 5 when they win this year. And notice I said when they win this year. So that's what you want to do. The Blackhawks proved it works. You have to be patient. You have to build through the system and just trust that Theo knows what he's doing. He has the track record. He's done it before. The one thing I really do like about him is he's so confident. You can see the confidence in him. He doesn't get rattled by reporters and fans when they're always asking, what is going on? This guy doesn't know what he's doing, and so on and so on. It doesn't bother him because he knows he's doing the right thing. He knows he's already done it. So he doesn't have to satisfy all these people. So I would just suggest have confidence in him. He knows what he's doing. I certainly do. I have never in my life, and I've been a Cubs fan since, 7 years old, and I have never seen the farm system built so fast in my life. And with that's part of the reason I'm totally with him, and I have such confidence that the Cubs will turn it around, and I really do believe they will win a World Series. The Blackhawks, look what they've done. It's very possible that they could win 2 or 3 World Series in a 5 to 10 year plan, period. So just have patience, let it work, let it play out, and I think that the Cubs will be on their way. I know it sounds funny. Everyone is probably chuckling as I say that and rolling their eyes because they've been so bad for so long, and the 100 years and whatever. Throw it out the window. We haven't had Theo Epstein for 100 years. We've had him. This is the 3rd year. All right. Have patience. All right. With that, why don't we go to the Blackhawks? Because it is playoff season. Excitement's in the air. Although they've lost 2 in a row now, they did win 6 straight. This is a team that you just never can count out. They are amazing. Not only do they have the finesse, they just have that swagger. The swagger that you remember in those Bulls teams, that you remember the Bears of '85. They have that. We cannot lose. With Tays and Kane and all that talent, talent is one thing, but they also have that drive, that Michael Jordan refuse to lose attitude. And I think that that's what separates them from, say, the Blues, for example. The Blues had them on the ropes. They were down 0-2. Seabrook suspended. Uh, which, by the way, I mean, what is up with that? If anyone's my age and they've been watching hockey, a play like that would be a 2-minute minor penalty in the '80s. And now you're throwing him out of the game and suspending him. I mean, it seems ridiculous to me. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but wow. And I understand the concussions and okay, you got a point. I mean, we realize more about concussions and the aftermath of them and so on, but come on. You had a guy literally punching, who was that? I don't even remember who it was, but he was giving him body shots, probably 5 or 6 of them, and the puck's not even around anymore, and he's giving him body shots, and there's no penalty called. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, getting back to my point, the Blackhawks they remind me a lot of those Bulls teams and the Bears of '85. They are so fun to watch. They're so exciting. People that don't even follow hockey get hooked. They just hook you into watching them. They just have that excitement. And I know winning obviously plays a part in that. Anytime a team is winning, it's very easy to follow them and like them, but it's more than that. You can just feel it. I went to my first Blackhawks game in probably 10 years. The one before that, I watched Mary Lemieux was still playing, and it was just amazing. Anybody who's ever been to a Blackhawks game, probably in the last 3-4 years, you feel the electricity from the very beginning when they're singing the national anthem. When they have the little video of the cool little highlights of the previous years. The 2010 Cup, the Kane goal to win the Cup in 2010. It gives you goosebumps. It makes you feel a feeling like you did back when the Bulls were winning. Back when Jordan and Pippen and Rodman were playing. I feel that same excitement. You have those core 3 guys. You have Kane. You have Keith. You have Tays. Crawford. He doesn't get enough credit. He's been playing really well lately. Hossa. Hossa. There's a guy at work. We were having this discussion the other day. Hossa does so many things that they don't show up in a stat sheet. He's just such a smart player. He seems to always be there at the right time, right place, but it's not luck. He's such a smart player. He's able to know where to be. His puck handling skills are amazing. This is a guy we signed 10 years. I don't even remember how much money, a crazy amount of money, and people thought the Blackhawks were insane. But you know what? Without him, we don't win those 2 cups, and we don't win a cup this year. So he's invaluable to the Blackhawks. Bickle. Bickle's another guy. He didn't really do much in the regular season, but once you turn on the lights for the playoffs, he suddenly comes alive. He checks. He's that body punisher, the enforcer that we lack. He's our Dustin Byfuglien of 2010. This is a guy that's invaluable that you may not see in a stat sheet as well. But you put this core collection of players in, and it's amazing. It really is. I'm very confident they will win tomorrow, and then luckily they have home ice. Thank God for that, because we haven't been able to win in Minnesota, and Minnesota seems to play extremely tougher when they're in Minnesota. But I feel like we will win in 7 games, and then go on to the next round. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but the next round I'm also confident in. I'm just confident in the Blackhawks. I just have that feeling of confidence. I'd be willing to put my hard-earned money to say that the Blackhawks will win. That's how confident I am in them. So yeah, I mean, that's super excited about tomorrow's game. A little disappointed it's at 8 o'clock. You know, these late games when you got to get up at crack of dawn just really suck. But it is what it is. I like the 2 o'clock starts on Sundays better, but it's Mother's Day, and, you know, I know a lot of moms are going to want to watch the game so they can barbecue and all that during the day and then gear up to watch the Hawks. So maybe it works out for the best. So yeah, we'll have to see. But tomorrow is a critical game. I'm confident they'll win and then go on to win the series in 7. So that's the Blackhawks. Bears had a big draft today. They went defense all the way, which totally agree with that. We lacked the defense, the pressure on the quarterback last season. We really geared in the off season, signed a few guys, to help that out, and looks like it's going to be a really exciting year for the Bears. A lot going on in Chicago. Our baseball teams, not so much, but it's okay. We have the Blackhawks and Bears for now, and we will have the Cubs. And notice I didn't mention the White Sox. I'm not a White Sox fan, but I am a baseball fan, so I am aware of what's going on with them. I am aware they beat 3 out of 4 against us. But, my daughter was at the one game they won, so I'm happy. Let's see. Back to the Bears, you got... By the way, I just want to bring up this point. Comparing hockey to other sports. Now, hockey guys, which I just learned this, I didn't even realize this, but a friend of mine told me the other day there was a Dallas Star who literally died on the ice. He had something happen to him. I don't know the full details. Once I figure out how to do like call-ins and stuff, maybe that'd be a cool thing. Someone could call in and give me details instead of trying to go online and find it. But anyway, I guess the guy, something happened to him, and he wanted to go back in the game. He left the trainer room to go back in the game and actually died on the bench. Okay. Compare that to Jay Cutler, who hurt his knee in the most critical game of the season, potentially maybe his career, against the Packers, whom we hate, in a playoff game, hurt his poor little knee, doesn't even go back in the game, okay? Doesn't play the second half. We go on to lose the game, and he is caught roaming around the city with his girlfriend, now wife. Okay, I'm sorry, but that rubs me the wrong way when I'm watching hockey and guys are dying on the bench. Duncan Keith's getting his teeth knocked out. It's just hard to see. Hockey has now really solidified as the toughest sport. There's hands down no doubt. So, 23 minutes in, realizing, wow, this radio thing is tough. You got to have a lot of information, a lot of topics. I think the next show I will have to do more of an organized effort where I'll spend X amount of time on this subject, X amount of time on another subject, and just kind of go from there. I'm thinking 30 minutes per show is probably a good start. I don't know how the heck these guys do 3 or 4 hours of information topics, but I guess it's easier when you have the equipment and you have different personalities in the station. You have multiple people. That's another thing that I was hoping to do, is kind of eventually have it where it's like me and another person, and then the other person can be doing different things. They can maybe do like prank phone calls. They call it phony phone calls on Howard Stern show, and those are always really funny to me and really entertaining. So I could do something like that, or just kind of go back and forth on topics. It'd be nice to maybe have a person on a different perspective as far as the Cubs and the rebuilding process. I know a lot of people are not in the same boat as me, and they do not believe in it, and they think it's not going to work, and that's great. I mean, I love to have people giving me different perspectives and kind of having that batter where you're going back and forth. So maybe that's potentially something that I could do as well. But I just really wanted to get a recording out there This is something that I've dreamed about doing for years, really since high school. I've been wanting to be on radio from what I remember, probably when I first, it really clicked and really hit me was probably freshman year of high school. I remember I had we got to do something with demonstrations or something to that effect, and I did a Barry Sanders video. Um, I just did a compilation of different highlights, and then I'd get to talk about them as though it was like a sports center. And I remember I loved it. I was very passionate about it. It made me feel alive. So I figured, you know what, maybe there's something left in me where I can do this. So I'm trying it out. So I guess I'll end on that note. So this is Sculldog Radio. If anyone is listening, I would really appreciate it if you did any comments or I guess is there a like thing or whatever they do. Do it. And I was even thinking about posting this on maybe Facebook or something like that. So maybe that's another thing if anyone has ideas on how to really get something like this going, they could maybe leave me a comment as well. Okay, so Sculldog Radio signing out.